Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Keytime Sports. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Keytime Sports right here on YouTube, Key City Sports on Instagram, and the Key on Millions.co. This is the start of week 3 in the NFL, and we are going to start off our matchup list with the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. There are some storylines that we have to start with before we give our prediction for this game. Miami Dolphins, they've started off the season 0-2, and the Buffalo Bills 2-0. So, based on the records, these two teams are heading in opposite directions. But like I always say, when it comes to division opponents, the games are going to be more closer than everybody predicts. So now I'm going to go to the storylines for this game. Now, with these storylines have all centered around the Miami Dolphins and Mike McDaniel. You can see this storyline that I have right here. Mike McDaniel maintaining his cool as 0-2 Dolphins travel to face AFC rival Bills in prime time. Now I'm going to go off and start Orchard Park, New York, amid Miami Dolphins 0-2 start. A plane circling overhead on Sunday's towering banner calling for his job and facing a short week and trip to Buffalo where he has never won. Mike McDaniel has lost the plot or his composure. Mike McDaniel was his familiar, cool, and calm self last week by refusing to flinch when asked about maintaining his focus and sanity. Buffalo, he said, I'm very understanding that in this business it's result based. My job is the more that people talk about anything, the less I have to hear about it. Buffalo, that's what it is about the Miami Dolphins. An early season primetime showdown between AFC East rivals on Thursday night has suddenly turned into a referendum on McDaniel's status barely 4 years into his tenure. The dynamic offense he introduced in helping the Dolphins reach the playoffs in each of his first 2 seasons is now a distant memory, after a start 2-6 last season led to Miami's 9-8 finish, missing the playoffs. The concerns and criticisms have become magnificent, with Miami opening the season with a 33-8 dud over the Indianapolis Colts, followed by a rash of issues of communication, fundamentals, and fourth quarter letdowns, contributing to a 33-27 loss to New England on Sunday. And now the Dolphins face what amounts to a significant test, traveling to play the 5-time defending division champion Buffalo Bills 2-0 in a stadium they've not won in since 2016, and an opponent they defeated just once in 14 meetings. And I'm going to go ahead and say that once in 14 meetings and only twice in the last 23 meetings. Once in 14 meetings and twice in the last 23 meetings. I don't care what our record is. We're going to Buffalo. Defensive tackle Zach Seller said, we got to go and set the tone up there. It's been business as usual in Buffalo, where Sean McDermott coached and Josh Allen led Bills maintain a week at a time, respect your opponent approach. McDermott shrugged off questions regarding Buffalo's home dominance over Miami is meaningless, as expressed sympathy when McDaniel's job was mentioned. It's unfortunate part of our business, number one, for anyone to have to go through that, said McDermott, into his ninth season. Two is we are focused on our team and trying to improve every day, what Sean McDermott said. What matters is the Buffalo Bills building off of their first two wins. However, different each one was achieved. Buffalo rallied from a 15-point deficit to pull out a season opening win over Baltimore 41-40, then clamped down defensively, coasting to a 30-10 win over the New York Jets. Now, one thing I can say about the New York Jets is that Allen is a player. Allen is the NFL's reigning MVP and overseeing an offense that is essentially returns intact. He's 12-12. He's 12-2 against Miami in the regular season with 37 touchdowns. Passing against the Dolphins are the most against any opponent. Josh Allen said, none of that matters, Allen said. It doesn't have any bearing to what this week will bring. Defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver appreciate that challenge ahead. Anthony Weaver said, my wife texted me Monday morning and she's like, hey, hang in there, Weaver said. And I'm like, the time for grieving was yesterday, baby. Today is for fighting, and that's what we're doing. It's time to fight back. Visor time. Allen wore a visor on his helmet in practice this week and expects to do so on Thursday night to protect his nose, which was bruised and bloodied in the first quarter against the Jets. So, I always say this. I always pray for everybody to have a good game and not get injured. So, it's good to see that Josh Allen will be suiting up for tonight's game and that his nose will be fine. Otherwise, his nose is fine. The quarterback's sense of humor. Yeah, I'm in the third Bosa brother in the league now, Allen said, referring to teammate Joey Bosa and edge rusher Nick Bosa. Joey Bosa laughed, saying Allen resembles his brother. Now let's get to the point where everybody is looking forward to defensive frustrations for the Miami Dolphins. One of the biggest surprises to start out the season has been Miami's struggles of their defense, a unit that finished 2024 ranked fourth in total defense after allowing just 314.4 yards per game. Miami is ranked 26th in total defense and has the second worst scoring defense in the NFL, allowing 33 points per game. Opponents have scored on 13 of 15 possessions against them, excluding drives that ended in kneel downs. I feel like we are being too conservative or not being sound enough up front where we need to work together as a unit, Settler said. I'll take ownership of that. The intense rivalry, the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. McDaniel's first glimpse of the Bills-Dolphins rivalry came as a kid when he saw former Miami linebacker Brian Cox come out of the tunnel at which was then Rich Stadium in Buffalo and made an obscene gesture with both hands in 1993. This is what McDaniel said. I was like, whoa, this is intense, McDaniel. I knew about this rivalry from whenever that was early 90s as a kid. And often the rip, I was like, that's a different set of fan bases that are both very prideful, so stuff is going to pop off. McDaniel noted Buffalo Bills fans have greeted him with a similar gesture. You can feel the intensity, he said. It makes it a really cool road atmosphere when we go up there because they are pretty nice people that when it comes to football, they black out and say a lot of things. Now, let me get to the matchup at hand. This is the storylines. This is everything that has to do with what all the coaches and the players have said. Now, it's time for the point spreads, and it's time for my prediction for Thursday night football. As of right now, the Buffalo Bills are a 11.5-point favorite. They open at 10.5 points. Now, I think that even though what the point spread says that the Bills are supposed to win by 12 points, I think that the Buffalo Bills will win by 2 touchdowns because I'm not confident in what the Miami Dolphins are selling right now. They can't keep the offense on the field. The defense has given up over 30 points the first 2 games of the season. And you have a Buffalo Bills team that is trying to show their dominance early in the season. Now, like I've been saying, last season, Buffalo won the division with 7 weeks left to go in the regular season. And it seemed like it may be going that way this season. But right now, I have the Buffalo Bills winning this game. The Miami Dolphins, they are going 0-3. And I'm going to tell y'all something. Stephen Ross, owner of the Miami Dolphins, has a track record of firing head coaches early in the season. Does he fire Mike McDaniel after this game, or does he wait until the end of the season to fire Mike McDaniel? Because Mike McDaniel, he has not produced and he has not lived up to expectations after his first 2 years in Miami. So the question is, does Mike McDaniel keep his job? And does the Miami Dolphins make the playoffs? That is my question for Miami Dolphins fans out there. The next game I am going to cover is the production. Come on. The next game I'm going to cover is the Green Bay Packers and the Cleveland Browns. Now, this game, I'm not even going to blink an eye at it. The Packers are going to win this game because you have Jordan Love. Packers, they are pretty much one of the best teams in the NFL after the first 2 weeks. It's the Green Bay Packers, Buffalo Bills, and the Philadelphia Eagles, the top 3 teams that I think that are the best teams in the NFL right now. But as far as the Packers, you have Christian Watson, you have Joshua Dobbs, wide receiver, and then you have Rico Dobbs, and you also have the running back, their top running back, Josh Jacobs. I believe Josh Jacobs, he is going to have at least 1 rushing touchdown in this game. And the Browns, well, their season is pretty much hanging by a thread now because you've lost 2 games. You're 4th place in the division, and we didn't expect the Cleveland Browns to go anywhere. But one thing they have to do is see what they have in Shedeur Sanders. But I'm not going to bore y'all with Shedeur today. That's all I got to say about this game. The Green Bay Packers will win over the Cleveland Browns. Now, next game I'm going to cover, Colts versus Titans. We got Mr. Indiana Jones, Daniel Jones, against the first round top pick rookie himself, Cam Ward. Now the Colts, they are a 4.5-point favorite in this game. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans somehow upset the Indianapolis Colts. Do I think the Titans can win this game? Sure, this is a AFC South showdown here. And like I've been saying throughout the entirety of this show already, when it comes to division games, the records don't matter, the projections don't matter. It is all about what these two division rivals can do, because your division rival knows more about you than any other team in the NFL. See, this is why I always say I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna equivalent this to dominoes and spades, because we all know that you have one or two family members that you play cards, you play spades, and both of your family members know what move you are going to do before you do it, and you know what move they are going to do before they do it. It's just a matter of you blocking and building, and that's what equivalates to the NFL. I know the type of plays that the Dolphins are going to run. That's what Miami is saying. And Buffalo, they're saying, I know what kind of plays the Dolphins are going to run. See, the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins, they've been playing well over 100 times throughout the NFL history. The Colts and the Titans, they have played over 50 times throughout NFL history. You know what plays your division rival is going to do, and they know what plays you are going to run. It's just a matter of stopping it. So all in all, I got the Colts winning this game. It is going to be close. I got the Colts winning by a field goal. The next game I'm going to cover is the Cincinnati Bengals and the Minnesota Vikings. J.J. McCarthy is injured and he will be out for 3 weeks. Joe Burrow, he will be out for 3 months. So, you got Jake Browning for the Cincinnati Bengals. And you also have Joshua Dobbs, the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, who just came in. Now, the Minnesota Vikings are a 2.5-point favorite, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals win this game in an upset. Now, who do I have winning this game? I'd have to say the Bengals, because one thing that I can say about the Bengals is Jake Browning, he already knows the Bengals system. A couple years ago, Joe Burrow had an injury, and Jake Browning, he played with the Bengals 6 games and won 4 out of those 6 games. So if you're the Bengals, you have confidence in Jake Browning. But 6 games, him playing 6 games in 2023 was very different than what he's going to have to play now. He is going to have to play the rest of the season, basically. Because 3 months from now, we already at Christmas. A week from Christmas, 3 months from now. And I don't think Joe Burrow is going to come back this season. So he should just go ahead and get prepared for 2026. So I got the Bengals winning over the Minnesota Vikings. The next game I'm going to cover is the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots. This game right here, what Aaron Rodgers am I going to see? Am I going to see the Aaron Rodgers that just rolled 7s over the Jets and he had a good game versus the Jets? Or am I going to see Aaron Rodgers where he just rolled 8s and rolled craps like he's got the number 8 on his jersey? I don't know what Aaron Rodgers I'm going to see. I hope I see the Aaron Rodgers that rolls 7s and throws touchdowns instead of the Aaron Rodgers I saw against the Seattle Seahawks, where he was just playing like crap and rolling craps. So I got the Pittsburgh Steelers winning over the Patriots, but I would not be surprised if the Patriots upset the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I got the Steelers in this game. The next game I am going to cover, and this is the big early game in the 1 o'clock window. You got the Los Angeles Rams and the Philadelphia Eagles, a rematch of the NFC divisional round playoff game from last year. Eagles won that one last year, and I believe the Eagles are going to win this one. The Rams offense has looked inefficient at times. Now, credit. First game, they played against the Texans, only scored 2 touchdowns. Last game, they scored 33 points against the Titans. So how many points are they going to score this week versus the Eagles? Now, credit. They going to Philadelphia. And we all know that Philadelphia is a tough, hostile environment. The Eagles, tough team to play at home. They won all of their home games last season, and they have won their first home game this season, which was against Dallas in week 1. So I got the Eagles winning this game. Currently, the Eagles are a 3.5 point favorite. I believe the Eagles will cover. For all my betting men and women out there, make sure y'all clip that. And yeah, so the Philadelphia Eagles, they are going to cover the spread and win the game. So all you betting men and women out there, you're going to get more bang for your buck in the Philadelphia Eagles game. The next game I'm going to cover is the New York Jets and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. New York Jets, I'm sorry. I'm trying to give y'all the benefit of the doubt. Justin Fields, he is injured for this game in Tampa. I don't see the New York Jets being competitive in this game. We have the Buccaneers on a different trajectory. They are projected to win this division again. I think that they will win the NFC South, and they will also win this game by 10 points. I can see that happening by 10 points. The next game I'm going to cover is the Las Vegas Raiders versus Washington Commanders. Washington Commanders, I got them winning this game because the Raiders, They looked iffy on Monday night. You had Geno Smith going back to his 2013 self that he just turned the ball. He threw 3 interceptions, and it really could have been a 4th. He really could have thrown 4 interceptions, but one of the Chargers defenders dropped the ball when he had it in his hand. So the Raiders offense looked inept Monday night. It was not on schedule, and I don't think it's going to be on schedule against the Washington Commanders. And plus, the Raiders are going on the road and playing in FedEx Stadium. Now, we all know that, I'm going to say this, we all know that FedEx is a delivery service, right? So the Commanders, their stadium is FedEx Field. Now, the Commanders, in other words, the Commanders are going to deliver a loss to the Raiders fans, and they're going to deliver a loss to Las Vegas, if you get my drift. That's what I'm saying. Hey, FedEx, they try and make all their customers happy, but the Commanders, they not going to make their customers happy on Sunday. Because they're going to beat the Raiders at home by 10 points or more. So the next game, that's all I got to say for the Raiders and the Commanders. The next game, a Dirty South matchup. This really is a Dirty South matchup. because Georgia is in the dirty South and North Carolina is in the dirty South. So a dirty South matchup, the Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers. I don't know what the Panthers are going to do. I'm at that point now where I think that I am going to renege on my prediction for the Panthers being a dark horse playoff team, but it's still just week 3, so I'm hoping that the Panthers can turn their season around quickly and efficiently, because by the time we get to by the time we get to week 5, we already know what kind of team that everybody has. And by the time we get to week 9, most of the teams that started off cold in the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, they will be trying to salvage the season and stay in that playoff chase to keep their season afloat. So I got the Dirty Birds from the South, the Atlanta Falcons, winning this game by a touchdown. Because when it comes to the Falcons and Panthers, they always play each other close. The last game that was a blowout between the Falcons and the Panthers was 2015, and that was when Cam Newton was the Panthers quarterback. They blew out the Falcons 30-3. Now, ever since then, the games have been close. The Falcons have won 80% of those games since 2015. So that's just a stat that I'm going to throw out there. The next game I'm going to cover is the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Jaguars are a 1.5 point favorite. The Texans offense has not looked great after the first 2 games. Jaguars, you got a chance to put the Texans at the bottom of the AFC South just 3 games in. Now, everybody was saying that the AFC South is, a 2-team race between the Colts and the Texans. But the Jaguars, they have something to say about that too, because as of right now, the standings in the AFC South are Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, Tennessee Titans, and Houston Texans. Now, does it stay like that throughout the remainder of the season? It remains to be seen, but as of right now, I'm not confident in what the Texans have. So I'm going with the Jaguars in this case. And Trevor Lawrence, we need Trevor Lawrence to have a better game. We don't need any interceptions. I heard Liam Cohen earlier this week, head coach of the Jaguars, Liam Cohen said that we are emphasizing protecting the ball around here. That is exactly what he said. So we're going to see what Trevor Lawrence can do. And let's see if he can go into a game without throwing any interceptions. The next game I'm going to cover is the Denver Broncos and the Los Angeles Chargers. This is a division game. This is going to be close. But I got the Superchargers of LA because they've been playing super these first 2 weeks. The defense for the Chargers is top 15. The offense of the Chargers is top 10. And the offense of the Chargers, they have been averaging 29 points per game and only allowing 19 points per game. So, I got the Chargers in this game. Sean Payton, Denver Broncos, Bo Nix. You're gonna lose a division game, and then you're gonna come back next week and win that game. Now, I had somebody yesterday get in contact with me that said that they had Bo Nix on their fantasy team, and they ended up trading Bo Nix because he lost to the Indianapolis Colts. So, enough about that. And also, the next game I'm going to cover is the New Orleans Saints and the Seattle Seahawks. Saints are projected to be the worst team in the NFL, so I'm not going to break no sweat with this one. I'm not going to spend no time on this prediction because the Saints are going to Seattle, and we all know that it's tough to beat Seattle at home. No matter what the Seattle Seahawks have done in the past, it's still tough to beat Seattle in Seattle. I got the Seattle Seahawks winning this game. The next game I'm going to cover, the 425 slot, and this is America's game of the week. My Dallas Cowboys versus the Chicago Bears. Now, one thing about Dallas, Matt Eberflus, please put better defensive players out there, because it seemed like week 2 versus the Giants, everybody was just thoroughbreds out there. I mean, it seemed like the Giants' offense was like a hot knife through butter. Couldn't stop them at all. But one thing about sports, this is why I like doing sports. Because every day you have a chance to update your resume. Every day, every hour, every week, every month, every year. You have a chance to update your resume every single day of the year. Now, as far as the Cowboys, I'm a little bit on the fence of how the defense looked in week 2. But I'm optimistic that my defense will come through. Now, I like Caleb Williams. I'm a big fan of Caleb Williams. I looked at all of his games when he was at Oklahoma and USC, but he not going to have a good game versus, well, I can't say that because Cowboys defense gave up over 500 yards last week. So can the Dallas Cowboys defense neutralize Caleb Williams, Roma Doomsday, DeAndre Swift, and everybody else on the Chicago Bears offense? Can they do that? It remains to be seen. Now, that is a question that will be answered on Sunday. But as of right now, I got my Dallas Cowboys winning this game and starting a winning streak this week. 2 straight games of winning. The next game I'm going to cover is the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers. The battle of 2-0 teams. This is the only game on the docket this week that has both teams in it 2-0. And this is a division game too, so it holds much more weight. So what do I see with the Cardinals and the 49ers? I see a close game, and I can see the 49ers winning this game by a field goal or a touchdown. Now, as of right now, the San Francisco 49ers are a 2.5-point favorite. But when it comes to the Cardinals, I still got to see how much tape they have on film, because when you look at their first 2 games, they've played against the Panthers, which is a bad team, and the Saints, which is a bad team. This is their first game where they are going to be playing against upper echelon competition. Now, even though that they are in the same division, we all know that division games can go either way. But if you are a betting man or woman, I would go with the San Francisco 49ers, because 49ers, they have a better defense than the Cardinals right now. Like I said, the Cardinals, they've played 2 inferior teams, so I don't really judge what I saw from the Cardinals playing the Saints or the Panthers as something that, okay, I could put this in my memory box and say, okay, the Cardinals fared well against this team or that team. I can't do that. So I got the 49ers winning this game. Sunday night football, the Kansas City Chiefs and the New York Giants. Kansas City, first time in 11 years, they have started out 0-2. Now, the last time they started out 0-2 was 2014. They did not make the playoffs. I don't see that happening. I see them right now they are 0-2, but I still see them making the playoffs because Patrick Mahomes is their quarterback. And Patrick Mahomes, he is going to find a way to will his team to victory starting Sunday night. Sunday night. Now, the New York Giants, New York Giants, they gave my Cowboys a lot of stress last week in the game on Sunday. They did. They stressed me out and they stressed all of Cowboys Nation out. But I think the Kansas City Chiefs will come into this game trying to send a message that even though we lost our first two games, we still haven't lost our fastball, and the AFC still runs through Kansas City. That is what I see. That's what I see that's going to happen in this game because Patrick Mahomes is a mild-mannered quarterback. He likes to talk to the media, and he gives clear and concise answers. The Giants, they are in a rebuilding year. The Chiefs, we expected more from them before to this point of the season. Now, it's still early in the season, but if the Chiefs don't win this game, you got Detroit, you got Baltimore, you got Buffalo, and you got the Jaguars in the next 4 weeks. Now, everybody, and I do mean everybody, is saying, really? They saying that Jaguars going to give the Chiefs problems? They could, but that matchup is in week 5. But we in week 3 right now, so I'm just focused on week 3. So I got the Chiefs winning over the New York Giants. Monday Night Football. This week, Detroit Lions versus the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens, I have trepidation. The same kind of trepidation that I have with my Dallas Cowboys and their defense, I got the same trepidation with the Baltimore Ravens defense because since John Harbaugh has been the head coach for the Baltimore Ravens, 17 games throughout John Harbaugh's career. In the last 7 minutes of the fourth quarter, the Ravens have had the lead in all 17 games that they have lost. And they've only had, and in those fourth quarters, they had only 6 minutes left. Now, the leads in all 17 of these games, I have this written down. The first game was they've had 4 games against divisional opponents over the years where they have been leading by 10 or more points with only 6 minutes left in those games, and they still lose. They lost the game versus Buffalo. This was a couple years ago, leading by 20 with under 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And then on top of that, this season, opening Sunday night, they lost a 15-point lead with under 4 minutes left. So I don't have confidence in the Baltimore Ravens defense right now. Yet I'm still going to go with them in this game because the Detroit Lions, I don't know who they are yet because you lay an egg at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, you come home and you do what you're supposed to do versus the Chicago Bears, which we all know the Chicago Bears is still a work in progress. And now you have the Ravens. Can this game be a shootout? I could very well see this game being a 38-35 affair. But I still have the Baltimore Ravens winning this game for some reason, because I just don't see the Baltimore Ravens starting off the season 1-2. Now, even though that everybody in the AFC North has at least won one game outside of the Cleveland Browns, the Ravens, they still have a chance they have the best odds now at winning the division, especially with Joe Burrow being out and the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a revolving door with Aaron Rodgers. So the Ravens, go ahead and win this game and put more improvement on defense. When it comes to the Ravens defense, they got to improve, or they will be watching the playoffs from home. And with that, those are my predictions for week 3 of the 2025 NFL season. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and content right here on YouTube, Keytime Sports right here on YouTube, Key City Sports on Instagram, and the KeyOnMillions.co. And remember, everybody, one last thing. The key is always on time.